So, the last video we came across the top of Scotland and ended up in Kinlochbervie, and that was up here on that chart, actually in that little indentation just there, which is almost impossible to see because it's quite a large scale chart. That got us round some quite nasty bits of sea, and now we're coming down inside the Outer Hebrides, so we're a bit more sheltered, and eventually inside the Isle of Skye, so even more sheltered. So our first trip from Kinlochbervie, after we'd done some cooking and had some walks, was to go on to Loch Ewe. Lochinver is here. Nothing too strenuous or anything about the journey itself. We go past Store Head here, which is a bit of a tidal race around there, but nothing massive. We came in very close to, as you'll see in the video, and round here and into Loch Ewe. Loch Ewe, I wanted to go to Loch Ewe because I watched a film that Sheila Hancock starred in I think it was a 2017-2018, where she plays Edie, an 83-year-old who, after a life of looking after children and house and all that, decides she wants to climb a mountain called Sullivan, which is this mountain here, and you'll see pictures in the video of that mountain. It's quite an interesting looking shape, and I'm certainly amazed that the woman did it, which is a true story, did it at 83. Anyway, so we went into Loch Ewe. I think we stayed for the one night in Loch Ewe. That's the plan. And then we come back out, and our next place to go is to Loch Ewe. Loch Ewe being here. So, and we went to Loch Ewe because in the Ewe Gardens, which are nationally famous gardens down just about here, Jean, my wife, very keen to go and see those, and since she'd come all the way up, flown all the way up and come sailing with me, it seemed only fair that we went to Loch Ewe. So we had an anchor. There's nowhere really, no towns or pontoons or anything down here, so it was a very, very peaceful place to go, we hope. And then visit Loch Ewe Gardens, one night there, and then come back out of Loch Ewe, come around this headland and go into Gairloch. There are pontoons here and various anchorages and a small town, and so that was the next place we were going to go. And then finally we come out, go to Plockton, which is down here. We come through the Inner Sound. There is a big submarine range here, and I've had holidays here in Applecross before, and I've also worked up here on weapons trials, and then come through here and into Plockton, which is there. Plockton we've stayed at a few times, and also it was the scene for a TV series, Hamish Macbeth, with Robert Carlyle, years and years ago, with a little dog called Hamish. I can't remember what his dog was called, actually. He was called Hamish. I can't remember what the dog was called. And that's where this video is going to finish, in Plockton. But first, some walks and some cooking in Kinlochbervie. This is our lunch. It is homemade sourdough bread with free-range eggs from Hoy, made by yours truly, with smoked salmon from a local charcuterie. We'll show you what we have for dinner later on. Well, as promised, we are cooking on the boat our dinner. We have asparagus, fresh asparagus. We have a risotto being made by Stephen, mushroom risotto. We use things like British cold pressed rapeseed oil. Ignore the garlic powder, because we used real garlic in this. So yeah, this will be our dinner later on, and just thought you might like to see that, having told you about my spice rack earlier on another short. Here we have cooking fully in progress. Gin and tonic being drunk, and a very, very nice gin from Orkney, Sea Glass gin, one of Jean's favourites. Jean being my wife, and also Marion's favourites. Sorry, they're looking a bit scruffy because they haven't had a shower today. So we just had our smoked salmon on sourdough, and now our homemade, I suppose it's boiled fruit cake really, because we don't have any pudding. But what's wrong with boiled fruit cake, eh? And you've still got this evening's menu to come. So there we go. Today we are sailing almost in the right direction. Just have to do a bit of tacking. I have to do a bit of yet. We're on a journey between Kinlochbervie and Lochinver. We are now beginning to get closer down to Hebrides. We're in the Binch Channel. The scenery is fairly spectacular, as you can see. Some cloud mountains, some mountains are almost darkest bits. Sea's much more neutral today. Everyone's reasonably Arian's at the wheel, helming very well. Steve is waiting his turn. Jean's just sat there looking happy. Yeah, so we've got about it's about a 28 mile trip. We're probably down to about 20 miles to go. We're spending a night in Lochinver, which I'm looking forward to, and then on to Loch Ewe tomorrow. Anyway, a bit more later probably. This is Store Headland, the old manor store over there, not very easily visible because it's against the background of the cliffs, but the sea stack. It's quite a big headland this, it's well out into the Minch. And we're getting a bit of a mess here because I'm trying to video and steer at the same time. So Stephen, we're all busy getting video. But yeah, so I think you can see that, but over there is the manor store and sea stack, quite famous in this area. We're just about to turn the corner now and go on into Lochinver. A bit more later. Approaching Lochinver now, we're kind of amazed by the mountains up here. Pointy, I think you would call them. Some quite famous ones. I don't know the names of them. I know there was a film with Sheila Hancock in it very recently where she climbed one of these mountains from Lochinver. Lochinver is in front of us. Then as we go round, I think we're there. The further mountains are the Cullens on the Isle of Skye. And I doubt you'll be able to see, but if you look out here, we can see the Outer Hebrides. So yeah, quite amazing to be in such an immense landscape and approaching the Isle of Skye from the north in a boat that a couple of months ago was in Topsham in Devon. Very, very strange feeling. This is the entrance to Lochinver. Fairly straightforward navigation point of view. A wide entrance, deep water. There are some rocks and islands around, but no real issue. And very interesting mountains in the background, particularly that one on the left. So yeah, into Lochinver now, go and find the marina, get tied up, and we're hoping to go and find some showers because the only shower in Kinlochbervie was broken. So we are all in desperate need of a shower. All tied up at the pontoon at Lochinver. This is the Kulag Hotel. We ate there, and that hotel featured in the film I was talking about. And having had a night in Lochinver, we're off again. Heading now for Loch Ewe. Jean with her new hat. We're actually feeling warm today for the first time for weeks. Suddenly there's a plume of warm air coming up from Spain apparently, and it is warm, it's calm as you can see as well. So although we've got the main sail up and it's helping a bit, we're mainly motoring out from Lochinver. The scenery around here is just completely spectacular. The sun is meant to be coming out. It rained this morning, but we're promised some sun this afternoon. But the scenery is still spectacular, whether you're in the sun or not, to be honest. That big mountain, like a I don't know what you call it, a pimple, yeah, that's a bit of a big pimple. And that is Sulman. And I might have mentioned this yesterday, there was a film, 2017 film with, what's her name? Sheila Hancock, called Edie, set in Lochinver. She's an 83-year-old, it is true, it was a partially true story. And Edie climbed at the age of 83 that mountain. That looks pretty scary. Over here, not so clear probably, for that almost disappeared in the background. Yeah, no, can't see that. I can see Skye just now, but it's a bit difficult to see. Anyway, we're on our way to Loch Ewe. We are in Loch Ewe. Talking fairly quietly because you don't want to disturb the peace here. It is absolutely stunning. We do have a little bit of company, a very pretty gaff-rigged boat. I think the trip boat is empty behind. The jetty over there leads to Inver National Trust Inver Gardens, which are nationally famous. And then the other side there are all these kind of cliffs and mountains. And it's absolutely calm. And the sky is clear, it's been grey all day. Absolutely beautiful. So I promised Jean I'd take it to the Inver Gardens, and I'm going to, and she's very happy with being here now. Peacefully on an anchor, or you can hear a bird singing. Today is a day when we're visiting Inver Gardens in Loch Ewe. We're still anchored off Loch Ewe. Had a very peaceful night last night on anchor. Managed to get in via the National Trust jetty, where the dinghy will probably end up on the rocks because the tide's going out, but never mind. Lovely gardens here. This is the walled garden. Over there is the village of Pool Ewe. Difficult to get to. I couldn't find it. I think there is a jetty over there that you could land with a dinghy, but you can't anchor very far in because that's very shallow there. But yeah, wonderful gardens. Probably one of the top gardens in Scotland. We've left Inver Ewe and we are making our way to Gairloch, where we spent 2 nights, both of them somewhat uncomfortable. It got very windy, as you can see here, and we were rafted up against another bigger boat, and we were bouncing around a lot. It was quite worrying, but anyway, eventually we left. That's the boat Windhover, very nice couple, who we were rafted up next to. We managed to not damage either boat, and here we are leaving Gairloch. We had a lovely walk in Gairloch, superb countryside. More mountains, lots of them. We left Gairloch this morning at about 8:15 on our way to Plockton. There's heavy rain forecast, but at the moment the sun is trying to come through and it's all dry and very calm again, after a couple of days of, well, yesterday it was pretty wild actually, and we were rafted up next to Windhover, very friendly couple, bigger boat than ours, but we were kind of very cozy, kissing, boats were kissing. We had about 10 vendors out total because it was really blowing quite hard. We're just passing the entrance to Loch Torridon. This is the inner sound between Skye and the mainland. Famous to me because the British Underwater Test and Evaluation Centre range exists on the inner sound here, so where they test various bits of military equipment. And we were wondering whether we'd get called up to take a particular course, but we're thinking possibly because it's Saturday, the range will not be being used today. We haven't been called by them. I've tried calling them and can't get a response. We're on our way to Plockton, where we're probably going to stay for 2 nights. It's a very pretty little place, and a place I've been before by land a couple of times, and it's likely to be a couple of days of possible thunderstorms, heavy rain, so we're going to kind of hole up in there till hopefully early next week it calms down again and we can make a bit more progress. So that's us for today. We are on our way under engine again to Plockton. Anchored for lunch off of Applecross. Not too bad a day at the moment. Rain hasn't started yet.
Sorry? Yeah.
Still very calm. We are approaching, going up Loch Carron at the moment towards Plockton. The lighthouse you can see on the end of the point there is on Cat Island, and that Plockton's just to the right of that. Again, beautiful scenery all around. This is all mainland Scotland. And then over behind us, over there, the Cullens on Skye. We've just gone past Skye Bridge, not under it, just past it. We'll be going under it in a few days' time. So yeah, we're making our way into Plockton now. Rain hasn't materialised. We had one little shower, so it's meant to be pouring rain all afternoon. That seems to have disappeared off the forecast now. We may get some light rain later. Anyway, looking forward to Plockton, one of my favourite places. There's some quite big ships actually anchored in there, but we're hoping there'll be visitor moorings for us. This is the entrance to the main pier at Plockton. A little bit damp this evening. I'm a bit damp inside, having 2 pints of Plockton starboard in the Plockton Inn. But look at that for a place. I think this is a place I'd like to be. We're going down onto the main town pontoon. Stephen there waiting, and full circles out there, second white boat out, just in front of the dark blue hulled boat. Yeah, a lovely place to be. And now I have a bit of a confession to make, because lovely though Plockton was, the weather took a real turn for the worse. We had a very wild night bouncing around, getting not too much sleep, checking anchor alarms to make sure the mooring didn't break, and the next day we decided we certainly couldn't continue, so we decided to abandon ship, and we took the train from Plockton to Inverness, which was a lovely train trip, and we had an apartment for a night in Inverness, which was very good. Got all our washing done and then took the train trip back the next day, by which time the worst of the torrential rain and the winds had disappeared and we were able to continue our journey. And this is Plockton on a lovely calm day.